And I mean that is in a lot of ways the recordings that like we've been doing and that you've been doing, I assume with other people too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I assume like you've been talking to Jazz as well.
Oh yeah, we just started. Yeah, no, we just started. We did a little bit of recording the other day because they brought up the digital red parties, and I was like, my phone is coming out now. I was like, re-say that. Oh no, it was before that. They were talking about what they kind of want to see happen for like a lot of different like health reform things, like specifically because of this. And so they were talking about being like, it's, someday, we'll all sit down and have a conversation about like, or like somebody will put through a reform that'll basically be for this. And I was like, okay, so what would you do? And they're just like, no, somebody was like, no. What would you do? And so I recorded it, and I got to go back because they're like, it allowed them to really actually put like to make it more tangible.
Yeah.
And by making it more tangible for themselves, they therefore help to manifest it for around them. So,
even if it's not doing our own
Yeah. And so that's the thing. Like, I think a lot of times, like, people, they are so used to, at least here, the Americanized way of things. And the Americanized way of things, you never have enough information to proceed forward, but you must have that information or you're an idiot.
Exactly.
So it's like, so you get caught in this constant state of like, well, am I going to look like a fool? Like, and that's the thing with me. I've gotten past the point of worrying about if I look like a fool, because we all look like a fool. That's the entire point of our journey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is to do that, is to be a glooskap and go around and have to get all this information.
It's the tarot.
It's
like you have to look at the whole thing. It's the fool. It's just the fool going through different modes.
Exactly. And so every single belief system and every single culture has that at its base, because we've all had to understand that basically as humans until we got to the point where, at least as Americans that I've lived amongst, where they are so hyper domesticated by themselves first and then their government second.
Institutionalization.
That
people don't think of
that people have to do everything for themselves. They can't ask for any fucking help, which is something Jazz has been calling me on. Like, you've lived around white people too long. Why are you doing this? And I was just like, what? And they're like, I continually be like, I'm out of the house. Do you need something for the house? Like, do you need me to come downstairs and do something for you? I'm like, you're sick too. They're like, yeah, but you are older than me, and like, you're just terrible at asking for help, and you're constantly giving me help. So how about you help me out by letting me help you? And I was just like, all right, fine. Because they were talking to me, they're like, you're so organized. Well, I was like, honey, you have no idea. Maybe in my Indian world, I am so organized because I am. But when I'm having to deal with this white supremacist bullshit, like the fact that we're not on, go take a nap and chill for a week in the house, like,
well, it's a, I mean, the Protestant thing, like to say the least. We don't want to sprawl into a million different things, but yeah, it's the whole way that, like, as a system, like, our culture, like, has been set up literally to just be an outsourced market for other countries, and then that kind of got foiled, but the rich people still wanted to be in power. They didn't want to have to pay taxes to England or some shit, but they still wanted to be in power, and they had this giant factory country. But then they were like, let's just run the entire country like it's a big factory.
No, okay. And so I was talking to somebody, and this blew my mind, because this is somebody that go ahead.
I remember what my point was, so it makes you feel disorganized, even if you're totally fucking organized in your own life. But because it's like you can't do this, like, going through several different tiers of bureaucracy, like saying the right things, wearing the right clothing while you're saying the right words.
And the reason it has to go through all that is because we won't directly engage with our history, because, and this is the thing I was going to say, like, I was talking to somebody about that this shit happens. Viruses like these happen because we still do slave labor. And they were just like, what are you talking about? I was like, do you not know what kids' lives are like?
Those are so cheap.
Yeah, no, exactly. I was make it past 5 years old. Like, the ones that do are deformed and don't get to see fucking sunlight. They have elders and old people doing this shit, the infirm doing this shit.
And
like,
it's also it's a lot of the men have gone off to work in like office jobs in the big cities, and they're all in the big cities, and so like the people left in the small towns, they don't have they don't have the labor of like a young healthy like populace coming in to like do farm work or something. That's lowly stuff. So it becomes like to provide for your family, you have to like take these jobs where you're going into even more remote areas where you can't go back home.
And so no matter what, we're still looking at the imperialism patent, which is that somebody has to be on top getting everything and letting everybody fucking just like below each other, below you. Like it's just like you can just deal with your life, whatever the fuck you get, whatever scraps that's nice for you.
The thing I was thinking is that like people don't realize that we literally do have like the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire happening in like hundreds of different countries, like thousands of different plants like every day. Like it just doesn't happen in the English speaking world, so we ignore it.
Yep. And I know. And so once again, like this is where it goes into a whole thing with like for those of us that do know how to look for the media that is outside of American media, it's our job to be just like spreading that out like wildfire. Because that's the other thing with the summer that I keep like getting people from bringing up. Like this is where everybody has to be singing their song loud. Like birds already know it. They've been going crazy already. Like everybody's gonna start singing their voice about whatever the fuck it is. Because A, it's gonna get the toxins out of you, and B, it's gonna get you through whatever's coming up with the rest of this. Because like everybody has now had the conversation that the only thing we're trying to save right now in the U.S. technically is not the people, but the economy. Like Bloomberg literally was like, okay, you shouldn't not go out because the economy will die. But you should be taking steps to be protecting one another, and then we've already had our first death yesterday. So
and that's the thing too, like the reason why Italy is shutting down is because if it doesn't shut down, the economy will collapse because people will just continue to get sick. Those people will continue to be out of work. And the one thing, like I mean, it was the post that you had shared, like where the one person, I think she was a doctor. I think a psychologist. PhD.
But
was observing like now the doctors are getting sick. The hospitals are overrun. There are patients who are in critical need.
So and this is the thing that I don't understand with this whole thing. And this just once again goes to show that we are going by completely imperialistic ideals versus I don't know, intersectional ideals, which is that we saw what was happening, even though they were doing a very good job trying to hide it while it was but we saw what was happening in China. And we also already know what China is like. At least
we know how China had failed at their response. Like people were openly critical of that.
So and then we didn't learn from that immediate mistake that cost how many lives? And so now, because we as the Americans have to be the dad that still goes to work with the broken foot and a flu, this.
And don't go to a doctor because
you can't afford it. No, of course not. And so
you can't afford it.
Yeah. It's
a prescription.
People prescription coverage. What is that? I know. And that's why when I go into call ward and they're like, "What do you mean you haven't been to a doc? You haven't been to a dentist in over 20 years?" I was like, "What money? Go away. What money, honey? From where? And it's not like it's just me. It's most fucking population. So why is most of the population still getting told they should still maybe go to work so that they can get sick and let their kids and their grandparents and themselves possibly die?
Yeah. So
the rich can stay home.
That's one of the reasons why I elected, on reflection of all this news, I was like, Steve, we should not be doing this because what is our job? Our job is
walk dogs when the owners aren't home. They should be home. They should be home. And that gets them to stay
also
home.
The other thing is our job essentially mandates that we are going into clients' homes. If everyone's in isolation mode right now as a preventive thing,
and that's why doing delivery and shit like that. No one can order delivery right now. The poor delivery person, the amount of people that they would be in contact with. That's why
I have the children are coming in. I'm hoping it gets here soon, but I am also
and the thing is, with Amazon stuff, I'm just gonna we're gonna leave it out front. If I gotta spritz it, fine. I'm gonna have gloves on. Take it out right there. We're good. I'm not ordering delivery food or anything where interaction has to happen because I don't want to put them through that risk. And that's the thing. It's not about me getting sick. Like, I'm already sick all the time, and I'm usually in bed, and I don't think I would die from something like that. But because I take too good of a care of myself,
for me, like, it's one of those things
I don't want to spread it to somebody else. I don't want to be a carrier, and like,
yeah,
that's a fucked up thing to do to somebody.
I think it's also that, like, knowing how many illnesses that I just endure day to day.
Yeah.
And then, like, put this new strain of the thing that we haven't really figured out how to solve except for, like, let it pass through.
Which, this is so hard. Like, Passover's literally coming up. Could we just all please stay inside?
Yeah.
Like, I would learn nothing.
Yeah, it's
It makes me want to put red over the door and just be like, we're not going anywhere.
Bring
it back old school.
Where's the locusts?
That already happened in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. I want my local locusts.
The beautiful dragonflies over the fall.
That's
I don't think that counts.
That doesn't count. They're not
That's
like
so gorgeous.
The dragonflies descending.
They just don't care. And see, this is why, like, these are the reasons I'm not that worried. Like, the dogs started to get very anxious over the past, like, couple months or so. We've been feeling anxiety for a while. Jazz and me were talking about how, like, like, when you're the rats on the shift, the rats start feeling it first, so we've been feeling all off because of it. Understandable. But, like, we know what to do. So, like,
you get out and start swimming.
I got my lifeboat. It's right here. I'm just gonna chill in it. I was saying to Jazz, like, we were talking about how if we're worried about people's footwear or anything like that, we can literally just put like a cat litter pan or whatever of bleach right out front door and back door. We had to do this for clinic when we worked with parvo and shit like that, and ringworm and all these things that were just like, you had to wear hazmat suits.
This is another thing I've been thinking about just in dog service right now, is because so many of my clients just keep getting giardia, and it's like
they don't follow protocol, and I don't know by this point if they really get told it, because I've actually like heard that Dr. Waxman basically is like, if you live in a certain area of town, you're just gonna get it over and over. I was just like, what did you what did you just say?
It's like things that, like, when I trained as a groomer's assistant, seemed like they would be industry standard. My groomer was just like, yeah, like every place uses Cherry 56 because it kills everything in parvo, and we literally have dogs come in from the shelter with kennel cough, and we can't pass that on to our clients. Like, literally every stage we're sanitizing. And like, it's just like then you wonder about like certain boarding facilities, and I'm not naming any names because I'm not making any accusations. Or you wonder about, like, why isn't that how we run dog parks? Why do we run dog parks as if they're like?
Well, and that's the thing. I've seen places like down south, they do run dog parks. Most of them really right, at least around in Richmond. The super huge one is hit or miss depending on who's there, but that's the way a lot of places are. But it's because it is a community effort, and you gotta put in your time.
In Philly, there was a private dog run that, like, you had to, like, apply for. It was just like private preschool for your dog, almost. Like, except for you didn't cost any money. It was sort of then part of the neighborhood association that you go into there.
Yeah. I'm gonna pause this for a second because I forgot to put a piece of wax in my mouth. I'm more like, I started drinking my smoothie first. I'll be explaining that later. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave this on the ground so it doesn't get burnt by the sun.
Admiring your countenance.
Oh yeah, no, that's the Halibu. So I got that at the thrift shop, and then for like $1, and then I just sprayed it, and I've been waiting for winter to end so I can start putting the foliage and rivers on it. So that's like first like mapping out layer. It's been great watching it follow the meridians and stuff, and like watching like the fluff turn into this water forest thing, because all the green is just me kind of picture is a waterfall going down the face of this nice chunky Iwasabe sea pit or fem in general, and so the water has pooled here, and you see me lounging in it like it's a sauna. Yeah, and the words that go along with it are, hold on. I did it in English, meaning like chillin' and think of that big ass. And what I wrote was at last meet je eich mach ik jet. And I'm gonna do that again later because it's only like the 5th time I've said it. I butchered that. But it basically means relaxing and being at a loss for words / thinking about that big ass. And so, like,
you gotta snap to that sentence.
The height, and I have to really work on like how to say that. It's literally like a pause to stop to think sound. So as usual, it's